This is Jerome Pepin. Let's talk weight and balance. Amy's weight and balance is integrated to the inventory and work order systems. And in this video, you'll see how picked parts, the work order remove log, and the work order miscellaneous installed items log all contribute to the weight and balance. You can use Amy's weight and balance on simple jobs or jobs where you remove literally hundreds of components and install hundreds more. Double entry of data is totally eliminated. Weight and balance is no longer a clerical task loaded with opportunities for error. And since the weight information is being added to the Amy system, your inventory data becomes more and more valuable over time as this data is collected. And I'll show this to you. Overall, you'll save gobs of time. And for a small shop and large shops alike, time is money. Okay, let's get started. Let's access a work order and take a look at the squawks associated with that job. So as you can see, we're removing, installing, and so on. Okay, now let's take a look at the parts that we've picked to this job. So here's the list of parts that have been requested from our inventory, and you can see we've picked a number of them, and a handful of them we have not picked yet, so let's go ahead and pick those. This item calls for 1 unit, so let's pick a quantity of 1. And this particular item also calls for just 1 unit, so we'll go ahead and pick a quantity of 1 for this guy also. I'm going to pause for a second and talk about what's going on this screen. Here we're indicating that these parts will be part of the weight and balance calculations. These guys have negligible weight, so they're not going to be part of the calculation. And of course you decide what's in and what's out. Use the edit pencil to modify the line. We can change the quantity, reassign the squawk, or indicate whether or not it's included in the weight and balance. I talked about how the weight and balance is integrated with the inventory system, so let's go to the inventory system for this part, and you can see this is where the weight is stored. It's often helpful to have a note associated with the weight. For example, is it a dry weight, wet weight? Does it include the shelf? Does it include the wire harness? Let's hop back into our work order and we'll take a look at the work order remove log. This is the list of items I've removed from the aircraft, including serial number, weight, and quantity. Let's take a look at how I add an item to the remove log. I've removed a KMA-24 from the aircraft. It's not an item in my inventory, so I'm having to enter unit, weight, and description. And of course, I'll enter the serial number just for documentation purposes, and it will show up on the weight and balance report at the end. It defaults to include these items in the weight and balance. And of course, I can exclude the item. Now we're going to take a look at the miscellaneous installed log. So right now we don't have any items in that particular log. We're going to add one. And we're going to add a part number that we are adding to the aircraft that was furnished to us by our customer. It happens to be an item that we do carry in inventory, so as I enter the part number, you can see our system is recognizing it. When I select that part, it populated the unit weight and it populated the description from our inventory system. So over time, as we work with more and more parts, we'll be cataloging in our inventory system all of these unit weights. We're finished with the miscellaneous installed log. We're done with the remove log. We've picked all of our parts. Let's take a look at the weight and balance form itself. So we'll go to the actions menu. We'll pick weight and balance, and let's take a look at what we have. So behind the scenes, I actually unpicked a part because I wanted to show you this status. So Amy's saying to us, hey, you've indicated this part's in the weight and balance, but we haven't picked anything yet. This is a potential error. These parts have been picked to the job, but they're not included in the weight and balance. Why is that? Well, as we know, parts with negligible weight are typically not included in the weight and balance, and that's why. But the system's letting me know just to make sure I haven't made a mistake. The items with the green check marks are items where the software is not noticing any anomalies in the data, and as far as the software is concerned, the data looks fine. So I'm going to go back now and pick that item that I missed in the first go around, and we're going to dive back into the weight and balance and take a look at the next part of the process. So let's look at those statuses one more time. So these are the guys that are not in the weight and balance because negligible weight, and these are the green check marks, no obvious issues. So let's close the audit contents and let's take a look at the scale calculator. So the look of the scale calculator is taken directly from the FAA Weight and Balance Handbook. You probably recognize the wacky column heading colors that they use. So we're going to just fill out the form. We'll use the same data that's in the handbook in case you want to follow along with the FAA Weight and Scale Handbook. Our scaling is complete, so let's insert the data into the worksheet. If I were working on a helicopter, I would care about the lateral arm, and I would have included those values up above, and I would want to show them in my weight and balance calculations below, but since we're working with a fixed wing, that's not necessary right now. Now we're going to enter our longitudinal arm values for all the items that we're installing, as well as all the items that we're removing. So I'll enter the first couple, and then I'll take it offline and zoom ahead and put in the rest of the values. I neglected to put my mass gross aircraft weight up at the top, so I just did that. Let's save our data and view the report that's generated from the AMI Weight and Balance system. We'll archive the finished report to the work order, and then I'll show you what the report itself looks like. We'll download it. I think I need to get a new company logo. Here's our weight and balance. So we have our as received, which was the product of the scaling, all the installed items and all the removed items. So let's go back to the work order, and we'll jump into the customer documents, go to our history, and take a look at the weight and balance version that we archived into the permanent record of the work order. So that concludes our video on the AMI Weight and Balance system. Thank you for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.